Hello and welcome to the Family Business. I'm Joe Castiglione Jr. alongside Isaac Stoops here at the Sooner Scoop HQ and Historic Campus Corner. We bring you another episode. We had a great guest, my goat, one of my personal goats, Landry Jones.
He's one of the goats in the NCAA record books. So
He is one of the most underappreciated players of all time.
Yeah, all-time good guy too.
No, he really was. He joined us, and then start for the Missouri game. You know, he has a history with Missouri as well. And then we are bringing on a new season here. It's football's kind of heading to the November. Basketball season's rolling around. Both Oklahoma Sooner basketball teams started off this week with a W in a convincing fashion. It's the classic bye game. You know, they played Lindenwood and Southern. But take it for what it's worth. These are the type of games you're just going to win by a lot.
They look good. They can score points.
Looking forward to that first $2 Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll be there.
If you want a good place to enjoy some hoops and a couple of cold beers, $2 Tuesday. Oklahoma, feel free to credit me with that. I'll expect my check in the mail. But it's also holiday season's rolling around the corner. I have a great idea. You need a significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, brother, sister, mother, father. Get them some home field apparel. I'm telling you, they won't disappoint. Home Field Apparel is the official OU apparel sponsor of Soonerscoop.com. If you go to homefieldapparel.com, use code SCOOP, you're going to get 15% off. I'm telling you, it's November. I know we're still about 2 months away from Christmas. Don't push it off. Go to Home Field Apparel. Get yourself. Why not just buy the box and then just divvy it up between two people?
You got a sweater, a hoodie. I mean, and then outside the box, you got the bomber, the rain jacket. It's kind of starting to get cold and rainy. I haven't been a really big fan of this week's weather, waking me up at 6 a.m. the other day. But
with the tornadoes, yeah, that was quite the wake up call.
Hopefully, that's not a reoccurring thing. But
it's a very effective alarm. But yeah, I mean. We only got one home game left, so you might as well rock your best outfit you have left.
Yep.
And so go to Home Field Apparel, get yourself some gear. I mean, I just love the Disco OU. I know my father probably feels a little bit different about that, but I like the Disco OU. So if you go to Home Field Apparel, use code SCOOP, you're going to get 15% off your order. Get ahead. Don't push it off like myself. Get your family some gifts. Put it under the tree. Be the first one.
Yeah.
Be the token child. Be the favorite child.
Yeah, if your tree's up already, then props to you.
I bought a tree, so it's actually already up. If I didn't buy a tree, it probably wouldn't be up.
Yeah,
I had to get ahead.
One step ahead of me.
Yeah, no, it's up. It's already Christmas in my head because next thing you know, it will be. But Landry Jones, fantastic guy. I mean, he's a great guy. He joined us from Canes.
Yeah. Hey, if we can pick up a Canes sponsorship, that'd be pretty funny.
It'd be a really good time. I love Canes. Life is not bad when you're eating Canes. But fantastic episode with Landry Jones, and we're going to take you to the interview right now. We now welcome in former Oklahoma quarterback, Pittsburgh Steeler, Landry Jones to the Family Business. Landry, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, boys, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Thanks for letting me come on.
Yeah, it's been in due time. It's been a long time coming.
Exactly. We got the goat. The goat. We talked a little bit. Before the show started. Where are you at right now? You're at a Canes? You're at a Canes right now?
Yeah, I'm at a Canes. Absolutely. Come on.
Okay,
Canes, come on. Sponsor the Family Business. Let's go.
Yeah, come on.
Canes. There's a Canes like 500 feet from the studio. Sponsor us. We'll eat chicken fingers on the air. I'll get some tea.
Whatever they want. Yeah.
Let's make it happen. Landry, you said you're in Oklahoma right now on a little business, but how involved are you with the program right now? Have you come up to a few games this year and in the past few years? Have you been up, watching any practices, or how involved are you with the program?
Involved to the extent of I'll come up and watch games and stuff. I got young kids now. So my youngest or my oldest boys are 8 and almost 7. So they're now starting to realize that they enjoy football. We took them to the game, and like my 8-year-old at the time was like, he just fell in love. And he went up to Coach V and was like, "Hey, Coach, I'm going to play for you at some point." And I was like, "I love it, son." Confidence right there. Already getting the recruiting started.
Heck yeah, manifest it. He's working the scholarship. He's working the schools right now.
Yeah, he's working the angles right now. Yeah. He's already starting to kind of dig in there a little bit.
We were talking about it before the show, but you're originally from New Mexico. So I guess simple question, what made you choose the Sooners and come out here to Oklahoma?
Great question. So most of my offers were like Pac-12 when it still was. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. Is that a
Technically, yes.
Pac-12?
It's
Like what
Pac-2
happened
right
to
now.
that?
Pac-2.
Washington and Oregon State. Washington State and Oregon State are the only
Yeah,
Pac-2
good.
schools.
That's a pitiful conference. So when the Pac-12 was the still the Pac-12 was most of my offers, then had some Big 12 stuff, and then you know how it goes. Once OU kind of came on the scene, that was the biggest program that had offered me at the time, and they were consistently winning. And so I was like, you know what, that's the best school out there right now. And so my choice was pretty simple.
You had Kevin Wilson as an OC for 4 of your years, and then Hype, and then you had Hype as a QB coach. How cool has it been to see his success as a head coach now? Of course, it ended how it did at Oklahoma, but now he's built up to what it has been at Tennessee. So how cool has that been for you to see his success at Tennessee?
Yeah, that's been good, man. You always want to wish people the best. So, Hype was my quarterback coach, and then my last couple of years he was actually my OC. And then just it wasn't like I had like really kept track of where he was going. I know he had a couple other stops before he got to Tennessee, and then when he got to Tennessee, they were not good.
No.
Right. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
They were pretty bad. But then just to see him, the way he recruited, the way he coached, the way he got those guys playing, man, they got it going on right now. So good for him. Happy for him. Wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun with his homecoming to Norman, and it was a really fun game, even though we lost. Having some offensive struggles right now. But what have been
That was a hard watch, boys.
Yeah, trust me.
That game felt like 5 hours.
We love them, but there's been a couple of them so far. It's just kind of how the cookies crumbled. But what are your first year thoughts about the transition to the SEC? How do you feel about it?
Well, this season is hard. This is a tough one, just for the simple fact of like, you wish you would have seen us at full strength. No one wants to make excuses or anything like that, but good God, man, injuries all over the place. I mean, how many receivers are out? I'm sure you guys
Top five receivers.
All five of our best, starters or contributors.
All five of them.
Yeah.
And then offensive line, have we had a same crew in any of the games?
We may have had to repeat one game, but as a whole, I think we've had eight or nine combinations for his quarterback.
It's, the OU faithfuls out there are like, what is going on? What's happening? And I just kind of want to be like, people, do you know how one, we're in a new conference, a better conference, competition is better, and then you have the injury bug that just hit us. I'm just like, you got to give them some slack, cut them some slack, because BB's doing a great job with the defense. Our defense is rolling. It's just we've had so much injuries on offense that makes it tough sledding.
You spent so much of your career before Brent departed for Clemson, but you spent so much of your career going against the Brent Venables defense. What do you remember about going against those defenses? And then could you kind of see, of course you're not coached by him, but could you kind of see any indication that he could be a future head coach?
Going against a Coach Venables defense, you're going to get multiple looks. You're going to get pressure. You're going to get some type of exotic blitzes, and then he's going to mix it up with good, sound, fundamental defense. So in practice, that was a challenge for sure, just because, you're having to react. You're not really game planning against your own defense, and they're dialing up all these wild, crazy, exotic blitzes. So you're kind of on your heels a little bit. And then whenever they hired him back, I thought it was a great hire. Just for the fact of we're going to the SEC, we need a defensive minded coach, and the defense has lit it up this year. They've played great. The hard thing about it is whenever your defense is playing so well and your offense is struggling, because like I said, with all the injuries and stuff like that, they're on the field so long that at some point in time, they're just going to get worn down. And that's kind of what I've seen a little bit this year, but those guys have done a heck of a job. It's just unfortunate the way the thing happened on offense with the injuries this year.
Yeah, I really do feel like not to make excuses like you said, but minus the injury bug, especially at such a fundamental time, with the transition. But I really do feel like that they could, I don't know, it just would look a lot different because our defense is on the field for so long, and that just, more time means more snaps, which is more opportunities to score points. And that's just kind of what it's crumbled down to so far this year.
Yeah,
It's kind of been
for sure, man. Those guys, but it's been fun to see. It's been good to see OU get like that's what makes me hopeful about this team to come is they got a good base. Their defense is playing really well, and there's not going to be another year when you get all five receivers hurt and the quarterback's a first year starter, right? Like, you don't have to knock on wood. I'm saying it right now. The quarterback is a first year starter, Jackson Arnold, going into a highly competitive SEC. Then all five of your guys go down. I'm like, dude, that would suck on anybody.
You have a little bit of experience there. Of course, you slid in as starting quarterback when Sam went down in the BYU game. What do you remember about handling that? And if you spoke to Jackson Arnold right now or anybody concerned about his production or his development, what would you say to them of, a first-year quarterback in a program such like Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a tough spot, right? Like you have weight of the world on your shoulders, highest expectations. It's at a place like Oklahoma, it's not like you're going into each year saying, hey, if we win 8 games, that's a successful season, right? You're going in and being like, if we don't win a national championship, I might ram my head through the wall, And so Jackson obviously feels that. And for those people that are like, oh my gosh, his production are hating on him, if I saw him, I'd smack him in the face and be like, why don't you go out there and play, dude?
Yeah.
You have no idea. You're sitting on a couch and judging this kid by watching the TV screen when you have no clue what's actually going on in the locker room or what he's dealing with. So I'm just like, let's give him some time. Let's let him develop, and he can throw, he can run. He'll be fine.
What do you when Sam went down against BYU, what do you remember? I don't know, just in that moment, like, you were already prepared? Were you nervous? You were young and probably not expecting to play behind a guy like him immediately, like you had to.
Oh, I was terrified. I mean, yeah, I for some reason, the only thing that I really remember was like, I couldn't find my helmet. I didn't know where it was. I set it on the sideline somewhere and I was like freaking out, trying to find it. Finally found it. They threw me in, and then it was just a whirlwind after that.
That's like one of those moments where you have those dreams where you like show up somewhere and you're like completely underdressed or like you're freaking out. Like
100%.
That's a nightmare moment.
Yeah. As if things couldn't
Nightmare
get worse.
moment.
Yeah, as if things couldn't get worse for my dad on that. That was already a rough start to the season because didn't we lose to Houston before BYU?
No, it was BYU was the first game of the year opening.
Well, BYU was the first game,
and then
Jerry's World.
but we're on the plane home, and my brother. We found out he's allergic to ibuprofen, so he starts having an allergic reaction on the plane home. So I was like, when you think things can't get worse, and they got worse.
Ibuprofen?
Yeah, it got worse. It could always get worse.
Yeah. That's we found that out. Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
I know it's straight Tylenol for him now, so good to know.
That is such a random allergy.
EpiPen. Hey, good thing the team doctors were on the plane. EpiPen, whatever. We're in good company.
Yeah, jab them. Boom.
Yeah.
Also, I think a really good way to put it is like when you slide into the quarterback role at the University of Oklahoma, of course you're trying to do, be productive. You're trying to put up stats, but you're also trying to be a leader. And so, Jackson's following Dylan Gabriel, and he slid into a great leadership role and developed to be that leader. And then you followed up Sam. How do you stay within yourself of being like, hey, I need to be Landry Jones, not Sam Bradford, or Jackson, like I need to be Jackson Arnold, not Dylan Gabriel. So how do you kind of stay within yourself when you're sliding into that role of QB1?
Yeah, I heard a pastor once say this, and he was talking about like he had to go preach on a Sunday morning after like the head pastor went out on a trip, and he had this thought of just being like, hey, I'm just going to do what this guy does, and he basically said like, well, if I try to do that, one, I'd get a crappy version of this person, and then two, they wouldn't get who I am. And I always remember that. And so, like, for me, it was just like if I tried to be Sam, one, they'd get a terrible version of Sam, and then two, they wouldn't get me. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of how I've always kept things into perspective of just being like, I got to go in there, I got to do it how I do it and figure it out, and it's got to be enough, and have a confidence in yourself to be like you're enough to actually lead this team.
Yeah, we just saw some highlights of you. Do you have like a favorite game or favorite moment? Like obviously West Virginia, I feel like has to be up there, but also you had Tavon Austin on the opposing sideline. That was kind of just, you guys were trading back and forth.
Yeah, that game was wild because I think we scored with, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds left in the game, and I was still semi-nervous just because of the simple fact that they had just been going up and down the field. And it felt like one of those games that whoever had the ball last was gonna win. So that was a good game. I think my favorites were always the Texas OU games.
Yeah.
Those were always just my favorite game to play in. We had some cool bowls that we went to, but it was always Texas OU.
We were looking at some of these highlights. We had Jazz Reynolds, you had Jalen Saunders, Shep, obviously Ryan and Kenny, but it's just you had a lot of different weapons from a lot of different places. Some guys highly recruited, some guys not. But I don't know, just it's almost a feel good moment just because of our this year has been a little rough.
Yeah, you're looking back at it.
Yeah,
we had some. I forgot about Jalen Saunders. I don't know where did he end up playing anywhere.
I think he tried, but I'm not sure.
At some places, yeah, and then
he went to Buffalo first.
He went to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay. Oof, man, Buffalo. That'd be a tough city to play in.
Especially
you've been to Buffalo.
Yeah, I just heard it's really cold and snowy.
Not a lot, right?
No, it's gray. The whole city is just gray. There's not a lot of color there.
Okay.
That's why Bills Mafia, there's not a lot to do except for get ready for the Bills, drink some
jump on tables,
some hot wings, crash tables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, they showed the clip earlier of the fourth down slant to Kenny Stills. That's a memorable moment. We actually had Kenny on the show earlier this year. The Florida State game, deep pass to him, and then he shows the 12 for Austin Box. I mean, there's a lot of memorable moments here. Trey Miller, we had Trey Miller too, and a lot of OU Texas moments. The flat pass, and then he jumps over and
Ryan
chucks
on. Yeah, so we've had quite a few of your guys on.
Yeah, some guys on.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
Is Trey still living in Norman?
Ardmore.
Yeah,
Ardmore. But he was
Ardmore. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, he's still in the area, but no, it's really cool. And then it's Missouri week, and so we do have to talk about. You got a couple wins against Missouri, and then you had the upset. I think it was the last time we went to Columbia, Missouri. Would that be right? Or maybe second last.
We were number one.
Yeah,
number one.
I don't remember. I know that we were ranked. I think we were one at the time, and they were what, 11?
11.
I don't know. They were maybe 11. Were they 11?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. And then Alden Smith just had himself a day.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare. It just felt like a bad dream, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, we've been to. Was it back in the day? You weren't here, but we beat Missouri in the Big 12 championship when they were number one, or was it not the Big 12 championship?
It was Big 12 championship in San Antonio.
Yeah, so
no, that was the Big 12. That was my true freshman year, I believe.
So you were here.
Yeah, no, I remember that. That was an historic.
It's either my true freshman year or we beat them
07.
On my recruiting visit. I can't remember. Times are starting to become blended together. That was Chase Daniels, right?
Yeah. Jeremy Macklin, they had some dudes.
Yeah.
Curtis Lofton.
Chase Daniels does. Yeah. Backup quarterback, American hero. Guy's done nothing, and he just gets broke off for millions of dollars.
Dude, yeah, he's now on all the talk shows and stuff, and he was living the
Good
dream.
for him.
He was I know he was a backup quarterback for a long time.
He looks the same.
A long time.
Yeah.
Talk about they had Chase Daniels and Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah.
That's quite the duo I mean, Blaine started, of course, with the Jaguars for a while, but that's quite a duo of
Backup
NFL
QBU?
collecting backup quarterback checks.
Yeah.
Yeah, backup QBU for
Well,
sure.
They
If
should ban
Oklahoma's QBU, they're backup QBU.
I hope their fans aren't going to watch this and get on the message boards before Saturday.
No, I hope they are.
Yeah.
That'd be all right.
It depends.
Yeah, I hope they are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct. It depends on the situation. I mean, they could be starting their backup quarterback this week,
That's
Drew
true.
Pine,
Heard he's
with their
injured.
injury to Brady Cook. There's a lot of cool moments. OU Texas is always up there. I was in one of those games. Is when you beat them by a lot of points, as you did a few times. I mean, I would have those as high up
Yeah.
in my memories as well.
Bragging rights for the next 365 days.
But
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Well, speaking of, being a established backup, after Oklahoma, you went to the Steelers, and backed up Ben Roethlisberger for a number of years. Started a few games there, actually played in a playoff game. When you look back at your NFL career, what do you think about it as a whole? Did you have fun? Was it a lot of fun? I can imagine backup quarterback stressful, but not at the same time. But you're also in the NFL, so
Yeah. The greatest gig of all time is being the third guy.
because you don't even have to
Being the
dress out,
third
right?
backup. Yeah, you don't even have now they do have to dress out, but whenever I was there, I didn't even have to dress out, and also I didn't have to practice. So how it works out is the number one guy takes every single obviously offensive rep, and then the backup, how he works in is that he takes all the scout team. And so I was the third guy for my first 2 years with the Steelers, and they were just basically paying me to work out. It was incredible. If I could have kept that gig, that would have been amazing.
Instead of
Best job I ever had.
Instead of you paying for a gym membership, they were paying you to come to the gym.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They pay me good money to be a gym member.
He was an influencer.
Yeah.
It's not what we'd call it these days.
Oh, man.
That's about right. Yeah. That's how it was.
Now we're
For
going to
sure.
brand it. Backup quarterback is the second best job
Yeah,
in the world.
second best.
Third string quarterback, number one. So that's
Greatest job. Yeah, number one job.
what I'm going to tell my kids. And be like,
Number one job.
Yeah, I'm gonna start training. If I do have a son, he's gonna be training at quarterback. Receiver and DB are a little harder.
Long snapper.
Long snapper, okay.
Long snapper.
Shout out James
Look at
Winchester.
James Winchester.
Yeah, I see him at the health club
Dude,
here in Norman
he's
on
been
the
playing-
yeah.
He's been playing forever, and he's going to play for another 20 years.
20, and he's got Super Bowl rings too.
He's got
Then
rings
he's got
too.
Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know.
He can
Every
go
time
out to eat with his family, dinner, no one really recognizes him. I mean,
Yeah,
he's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of dream. That's what I'm saying. Can you imagine seeing James Winchester? You said at the health club.
I see him at our local
Off-season?
gym in Norman during the off season. I'll be like, what the hell? I see him, Dusty Dvorak, Teddy Lehman. I'm like, all right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite the alumni base.
No, I know. Yeah, they must all live.
Yeah, they're
relatively
a great
close.
alumni base.
We were talking about it.
I end up.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you good.
I was just gonna say we were talking about your short stint in the XFL with my dad's team down in Dallas. What ultimately, pushed you to try it and then to stop? Because I know Ryan Broyles was also thinking about maybe giving it one more go before he ultimately decided not to.
Yeah. So, whenever I was done, so that was 2000. That's an off season 2019. I got picked up by the Raiders and was with the Raiders for I can't even remember. Then I got released from the Raiders, and that was when XFL was kind of like, hey, they'd called me and asked me, what do you think about doing this? And I was like, I'm still trying to get in the NFL. And then they're like, hey, we're going to have a team in Dallas. Coach Stoops is going to coach it. And so that's when I was just kind of like, okay, let's give it a shot. Open door right now. And already the great thing about it was I had so much familiarity with Coach Stoops, and felt comfortable with, the person that he was, the coach that he was. And I was like, that would actually be pretty fun working on a professional level, instead of doing it as in college and stuff with a former coach. And so let's do it. And got into it. And then, COVID happened and shut the whole world down.
Yeah,
Dang.
it felt like a fever dream. I still can't believe that was real.
Seriously, dude. I'm telling you.
The C word.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was like the first
Yeah.
taste of the XFL, and I was like, this is really cool.
fun,
and everybody,
yeah.
I was like, there's a spot for this too. There's also a story. There's a story out there. I mean, I read it on the internet, so take it for what it's worth. But before going to the XFL, the AAF, for those who remember back in 2020, and called you and they offered you $1 million, but you kind of saw that they may not be able to follow through with that deal. Did you see anything? You're like, is it kind of like a scam caller?
Well,
like
you ended up being right. So
Yeah, he was right.
Yeah. They're right. I don't remember. They didn't offer me $1 million.
Okay, that was
Okay.
But I remember it was like one of those things to where they had called and they had asked. I don't really remember the details of it. I just know that they were possibly interested in doing it, and I was just like, I don't know. Let's, it seemed a little too good to be kind of true at that moment.
it.
And it was.
I'm gonna go community note that article that I read before now.
Yeah.
But was it true that you were before that you're working a construction job, minimum wage construction job is what it said too as well?
Oh yeah, I was working for Black Door Renovation. So whenever I got done with or that was before I went to the Raiders. So I got picked up in 2018 to do Jacksonville, and then after that season was done with Jacksonville, and I was kind of getting to the point of where it's like, hey, football may not be in my future anymore. I got to start figuring out. So been wanting to work in the construction world for a while now. And I called Blackstone Renovation just because they were going to do some renovations on our home. And I was like, hey, look, I want to get into the construction world. Do you guys have like an internship or something like that? Like, I'll work for free. I don't really care. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. We do. You can come and start learning the business. And so basically did like a short-term internship with them, and was going to start and do all this different stuff. And then the Raiders called, and I was just like, all right, I guess I'm going to go back and
Could you
play for
imagine?
the Raiders.
The Raiders maybe just trumped them a little bit.
Yeah, they jumped a little bit. Yeah, I was like, hey, the Raiders just called. I'm going to have to quit.
They're like, all right.
I get it.
Yeah.
You're telling your work
Yeah,
buddy.
they were like, yeah, I get it.
You're telling your work buddy you finish up a project and you're like, hey, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I'm like, oh, like what happened? Like, yeah, the Raiders called me. I'm going to go play for them.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Fuck."
Yeah, I think I'm going to go do that.
He's like, all right, so no burritos for lunch tomorrow? He's like, no, I'm
He's
out.
like, oh, cool. Edmond North High School just called
No,
me.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Oh,
But it's,
Yeah, I'm out.
it seems like there's a little bit
Absolutely.
interest in construction because you're working for a roofing company. Is that correct now?
Yeah, I'm doing roofing right now.
So you are in Dallas and then Oklahoma. So does it kind of float around a little bit, or is that why we see you? in
Yeah,
Metro a
so
little bit?
the company that I work for is called Apple Roofing. They're just like a big national company. And started working with them probably like a couple months ago. And I'd been working for a different roofing company before that, and then they brought me on, and so they're expanding. They're trying to get into the we're into the Oklahoma market, and then obviously, thank you Lord for that huge hailstorm that hit Edmond a little bit ago.
Yeah.
So that's why I've been up here.
Hey, Landry's company will take care of you. I know it's unfortunate, but that's just part of living in Oklahoma.
Roofing companies
Yeah, it's part of living in Oklahoma, man.
and hail dent repair and some kind of electrical companies too. They make a fortune in
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Well, we were also talking about it's for some Sooner fans who don't remember, you married another great Sooner in Whitney Hand, and so kind of tell us how's the family doing? How is everybody?
Yeah, everyone's doing well. We have 4 kids now. We got a 8-year-old boy Zeke, 6-year-old boy Jax, and then a 5-year-old girl Quinn, and then basically a 1-year-old boy Samuel. So praise the Lord, everyone's alive, and that's kind of at the end of the day with 4 kids, 4 young kids, if they're all alive at the end of the day, you just you go to bed and you're like, that's a win. Thank you, Lord, that we kept everybody alive for another day.
That is a win.
If there's future bets
Yeah,
on
that's a win.
over under 1.5 for D1 athletes, I'll take the over of the 4.
There's gonna be a couple in there.
A couple Division 1 athletes there. Like you
Oh,
said,
yeah,
your son told
there'll
me.
be a couple. There'll be a couple in there. Zeke can throw. Jax is Jackson's going to have his hand in the dirt some way, shape, or form, whether it's offensive line or D line. It's going to be something. Maybe tight end. We just don't have the speed factor in our family. Neither me nor Whit we're very fast. So I kind of skipped that. Oh, I don't know. It maybe come out of left field, but I highly doubt it for him.
Hey, just when he gets older, just show him what the NIL checks for offensive linemen and
Yeah,
the
what they're
NFL
looking
deals
like now.
look for, and be like, all right. This is what
Oh yeah, I keep telling him. I'm like, dude, left tackle, baby,
left
vertical set.
Yeah, get that extra steak tonight. We're eating double cheeseburgers tomorrow. Let's get that weight up.
Yeah,
Just like Schmitty
yeah,
weighs.
for sure.
We got weigh in tomorrow.
We got weigh in big dogs.
7 a.m.
You gotta wait until my big dog.
There's some great stories.
Drink protein shakes until you almost feel like you're gonna vomit.
Exactly. Kids slamming like 4 to 5 Gatorade protein shakes, and they're really sugary too, so they would wreck your stomach. 4 to 5 protein shakes, and then just vomit right after. Or
those bars. Oh my god, I felt so full.
those are
The bars, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Bars are
like
rough.
eating chalk.
Protein shakes are, yeah, you are eating chalk. That might be what they're made out of.
it's such a better industry now than it was then. I'll tell you that. Yeah, a lot of opportunities. Well, Landry, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, especially working with. You're working right now. You're working in your work day. You slid us in. You slid the family business into your schedule, so we greatly appreciate it.
Hey, dude, we talked about Apple Roofing. We're working.
That was a
I'm
promo,
working
yeah.
right now. Yeah.
That lunch
Yeah, this is
should
a
be
work call.
expensed,
What do you
right? That lunch should be expensed,
Yeah.
right? That's how it works. As I always said.
Absolutely.
If it just works.
For sure. Write off.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
For everyone watching, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. That helps us help you. And we'll catch you next week with another edition of The Family Business. Remember to keep it in the family.